We'll be starting in just a moment. Hello, my friends, and happy Monday. So today is the first day of our 12 days of Christmas. And this is our second year we're doing this. So we've kind of redesigned how we're doing this event. And I certainly hope you enjoy it. And how appropriate that we just got our first snow. I know they got a whole bunch of snow in Chicago, but we just got a little dusting here in the greater Milwaukee County. So, you know, it's starting to feel a little bit like the holidays. And today we are doing our very first project of the 12 days of Christmas. So not every day of the 12 days is going to be a project. So it's kind of going to loosely be every other day. So I have the icicles today, and then tomorrow I have everything that you need to make the icicles. So should you want to do it yourself. And then on Wednesday, I have the Christmas trees. And then, of course, on Thursday, I have all the components for the Christmas trees. So this is my way of trying to make everyone happy. And I will tell you, it is not an easy task, but I'm trying really hard. I'm trying to make happy those people who want the kits, and I'm also trying to make happy those people who are more interested in designing the pieces themselves. So you guys give me a little feedback. Let me know what it is that you would like to see during these 12 days of Christmas. You know, I love your suggestions. And give me a little feedback. Is this working well? How are you liking it? So I would love to hear from you.
Jeline and Kathy M. say hello.
Hello, ladies.
Barb says good afternoon.
Hi, Barb.
Allie says hi and adds pretty hoodie Irina, puts us in the holiday spirit.
Yay, thank you so much, Allie. Okay, my friends. So what do you think? Should we make some icicles? Let's do it. So last week we made snowflakes. Last Thursday we made snowflakes, and today we are making icicles. And actually, icicles are even easier. Icicles are pretty much as easy as it gets. So let me remind you, we are going to be working with memory wire, but this time it is straight memory wire. So it's not a snowflake form. It is straight memory wire, and it's just a little bit harder to work with than snowflake forms. Of course, we are going to make it easy. And I will remind you, ladies, that this is the cutter, should you need to cut this at all, which honestly, I suggest that you do not cut anything. So when you get the kits, all of the memory wire is cut to the exact length. However, if for whatever reason you need to cut this down a little bit, this is the only cutter. This is a memory wire cutter, and this is the only cutter that you can use. please do not use your regular cutter to cut memory wire because you will ruin it. So that's my little reminder.
Karen says hi.
Hi, Karen. And thank you for joining us.
And Christy says love them.
Oh, thank you so much, Christy. So, as I mentioned, this is as easy a project as it gets. So let's get started. And my goal is to show every one of the patterns because they do differ a little bit. And we are going to start by making a little loop at the bottom of our wire. So pretty much all of these pieces are made in a very similar way. They all have a fun little bauble at the bottom. And so we are going to, I'm going to pick this green one to make, and I'm just going to pour everything on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a loop. And, oh, I just realized I said we are going to be making, I'm going to be showing all the patterns. So I am going to just move these over a little bit. I still want them on my table so that we can see what we're making. Okay, my friends. So I'm going to make a loop. And just like any other loop, I will start with my flat nose pliers and I'll make a 90-degree angle, just like when you make any other loop. And then I'm going to use my round nose pliers to start the loop. And of course, we're going in the opposite direction of the bend. And as I mentioned, this wire is a little bit harder than the snowflake wire. So we are not going to attempt to close this loop with the round nose pliers. It's just way too difficult. So instead, I am going to use my crimper. And the crimper is like the perfect, oh, you know what? I forgot to put my little bauble inside. Maybe we can still sneak it in. And there we go. So I'm actually going to leave this a little bit open so that we can play with some of the other beads and make all of the icicles. And I'm actually going to leave the green one until the very, very end because that's the one I'm going to be making today. But in the meantime, let's just go ahead and run through all the patterns. So this one is, and you know, the reason I am not saying these are the same because they're actually a little bit, they're all a little bit different, and hence the wire is cut to length for each pattern. So anyway, if you are making the red icicle, also known as Santa's Sleigh Bling, we are going to duplicate this pattern. So first I have my faceted teardrop, then I have this lovely blingy crystal AB bead. Then we're going to string our really pretty and vibrant rhinestone rondelle.
Allie says, oh, the new red and cream icicle is very pretty.
Oh, thank you so much, Allie. Yeah, all of these are actually new this year. And you know, every year I change them just a little bit, or sometimes a lot, you know. It's really fun to make it new every year. And this is the pattern for Santa's sleigh.
Bling.
Bling. Tony likes to say bling. And so at this point, we would make a loop, except now we're just going to string a whole new icicle. All right, if we were making the cream and gold one, the one that Allie liked, let's duplicate that one. I like that one too. It's very blingy. It's probably the blingiest one of all.
This is White Christmas Bling.
So we're going to make White Christmas Bling. And this one has a little gold drop at the bottom. I love these vintage drops. They are so pretty. They're filigree. They're very, very festive. And I feel like they just really go well with all of our holiday themes. Actually, this goes the other way. And now we have our little crystal and gold rondelle. And then we have that disco ball. And then we have our rhinestone bead. The crystal. Oh, I'm sorry, not the crystal, but the beautiful white. This is so ornate. This is a polymer bead that is just totally bedazzled with all this fun stuff. And next we have the gold rhinestone bead again, and another disco ball, and the rondelle, and finally another teardrop. And there we go. There's our icicle. Okay, so now I will show you the pattern for one, I forgot, what did we call this one?
Sparkly Wonderland.
For the Sparkling Wonderland.
And that is Arctic Blue.
I love the Arctic Blue. This one, I don't know, it might possibly be my favorite this year. And I will say that Arctic Blue and Northern Lights are exactly the same as far as the pattern. So I'm actually not going to demo both because, you know, they're exactly the same. All right, so again, we're going to start with our little blingy teardrop. And then we have these perfectly matched teardrops. They're perfectly matched to the faceted rondelles. And we have these very, very impressive giant rhinestone rondelles. These are, look at how huge these are. I think they're about 16 millimeters. And they happen to fit these faceted rondelles really, really well. And, oh, you know what? No, I'm sorry. I goofed this up a little bit. No harm done, but I almost forgot. We have a different size rondelle. So we are starting with the smaller rondelle. You know, I made all these icicles probably a whole week ago. And you know what? It's so easy to forget if you're not actually looking at the sample. I'm sure it would still work out with the same size rondelles, but I like it so much better with the smaller rondelles at the ends. You know, it just gives it that nice tapered look, you know, like a real icicle. And a couple more. And here's the other smaller rondelle. And this is our entire pattern. For the Wonderland icicle, the sparkly, I should say, Wonderland icicle. And again, this is the Arctic blue, and this is Northern Lights, you know, as in Aurora Borealis. We all love to see those, and actually occasionally we can even see them here in Wisconsin. Okay, my friends, so now we are going to, I'm actually going to save the rose one for the very, very end. Okay, so now we are going to do this for realsies, and I am now going to make the green icicles, also known as Evergreen Bling. Okay, so as you can probably guess, we're going to start with the drop, and I'm going to go back to my trusty crimper. We all love our crimpers, but little did we know that we're going to be doing so much more than crimping with our crimper. Look how beautifully it closes that loop. It's great. So please save your hands. Don't try to do it without the crimper. Okay, so now this is the pattern. This is the Evergreen Bling. This is what we're trying to reproduce. And we're going to string our beautiful faceted teardrop onto this. And then we have the rhinestone rondelle. And then we have this very perfect emerald color rondelle. This is such a beautiful color, and it's like the perfect Christmas green. Then we have, I'm a big fan of these very blingy rondelle, or rather round beads. And of course, this totally embellished polymer clay bead is super fun. And now we're just going to replicate the pattern on this side. So I'm going through that very sparkly gold bead, and then we have the emerald bead, and finally we have the teardrop. And this is what it looks like. So the best thing to do at this point, now that we're going to do the second loop, is please don't try to get as close as you possibly can, because the chances are you're going to break this top bead. So we're going to give it a little gap. Do you guys see the gap? It's like maybe 1 to 2 millimeters between my very top bead and my flat nose pliers. And then I'm just going to make that nice 90-degree angle. And just as before, we are going to make the loop. And we're not going to attempt to make it all the way. We're just going to start the loop, maybe just a teeny bit more.
Christy says brilliant. I think that's in regards to the, oh, what you're going to show right now. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Christy. I really appreciate it. Okay, my friends, and again, save your hands. Don't make yourself crazy. This works so beautifully. And, you know, I just love using my crimper for this. And, you know, at the end of the day, all the beads are going to drop down. And even if you have a little tiny gap up here, and you can't even see the gap, can you? So, you know, it's always good to leave that little bit of a gap just so that you keep all your beads intact. And I'm also going to make the rose icicle, and this is going to be very similar, but the reason I wanted to show this separately is because there's just one more little component to this one, And you may or may not have worked with these little pinch bails before. So the pinch bail looks like this. And you guys have seen this before, I'm sure. So this is a pinch bail, and it has two little prongs. And those two little prongs are going to go inside this drop and hold on to this drop. And this is going to be very permanent. This is what it's going to look like. But the reason I wanted to show you what to do with this is because if you look at these prongs pretty closely, you will probably figure out that there's no way both prongs can fit in this hole. So we are going to change the prongs just a little bit. We're going to cut off about half of the prong on each side.
Kathy is wondering, will tomorrow be like a live sale?
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much for asking. Tomorrow will be exactly like the live sales on Friday, except just a little different. It will have everything to do with building icicles on your own. Because, you know, as I mentioned, some people really like my kits. Some people want to design their own. So I'm going to show you even more options for making icicles. And I just realized that there's a little tiny piece still hanging here, so I just removed it. Okay, my friends, and yes, I will talk a little bit more about it at the very, very end. All right, so now we are simply going to use our flat nose pliers to complete this little charm. And probably the easiest thing to do is to move the two sides of the bail, the pinch bail, a little closer, and then we can align those little prongs with our teardrop and maybe drop it just once or twice, although it's not really necessary. Okay, my friends, so now I'm just aligning the prongs, pushing the prongs into the hole. Please don't do this like you're pinching it for dear life. Just pinch it very gently. And this is what it looks like. And this is really quite permanent. So just remember, when you get this kit, you need to cut off about half of the prong in order for this to fit really well. Okay, and the rest of it is going to be exactly like making any other icicle, but because I absolutely love this rose one and I want to give it to somebody special, I wanted to make another one. And so again, I'm starting with a teardrop, or sorry, I'm starting with a loop, which kind of looks like a teardrop, but it's a loop. And before we close the loop, we will string our little rose drop into it. And just as before, use our crimper to close the loop. And now we are going to string the same pattern. Also, I wanted to show this one is because it's very difficult to see into the center of this. So I just wanted to show you that they're actually going to be some little beads, some 6mm Swarovski beads that are kind of nesting in the center of the icicle. So first I have my faceted drop again. Then I have a really pretty pink rondelle. Then we have this chunky faceted bead. This is a slightly different bead than the disco ball. This is kind of like almost like a cube meets a round. It has bigger sides, bigger facets, and it's really fun. And then we string our Swarovski. And just in case you're wondering, this is a Swarovski flower.
And yes, it did have a center, which I took out just for these icicles. And this way, because I took out the centers, we can string them just like this onto memory wire. And so you don't have to worry about taking out the centers of the flower, because I've already done that for the kits. So no worries. However, tomorrow, as part of the live sale, I will be showing the Swarovski flowers, and those will be intact. So if you are going to use them in the same way, you will have to take out the center yourself. And if anybody wants to see how to do it, I'm happy to show it. Okay, and that's about it. Now we just have to make that that loop at the top, and we're all set. So just using my round nose to make the loop. And this loop ended up a little bit bigger, but that's okay. And there we go. I'm just using my crimper to complete the loop. And there's my rose icicle. What do you think? So this is pretty easy, right? All of these are incredibly easy. The hardest part of it is the memory wire and making the loop. But now that you know the trick, that part is not difficult at all. And so let me arrange all. I guess I'll have to take away the duplicates because I'm running out of room. So these are all available as kits in our online store. And we have White Christmas Bling Icicle, which is this one. And then we have the Santa Sleigh Bling Icicle Ornament, and that is the red and silver. Then we have the Evergreen Bling Icicle, which is this one. Of course, the really pretty emerald. The Swarovski Rose Icicle Ornament. I think you know which one that is. And finally, we have Sparkly Wonderland Icicle in 2 colorways. We have Northern Lights, which is right here, and then Arctic Blue. So I hope you picked your favorites. Okay, my friends, so let me tell you a little bit about tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be a shopping event, and this is going to be at 4 o'clock, just like today. And what we are going to feature are all sorts of beads and components for icicles and other holiday projects. So I'm going to try to feature very similar components to this, but there are going to be more of them so that you can create your own colorways, and I'll give you some more ideas. So, you know, if you have any, I have pretty much picked out what we're showing tomorrow, but if you have any last minute ideas or suggestions, please let me know if there's anything specific you would like to see. This is pretty fluid, so if we have it, you know, if you want to see it and we happen to have it, we will absolutely show it. So don't be shy with your suggestions. And then for the rest of the week, on Wednesday, I'm going to be making Christmas trees. And these, of course, are going to be very ornate and very fun for the holidays. I started making these Christmas trees maybe a couple of years ago, and this has been very, very popular. They're a little bit like icicles. We simply stack a bunch of different things, but of course, it takes a little engineering to make it look like a Christmas tree and to make it all stay in place. So that's really been a lot of fun. And then on Thursday, I will show all sorts of festive, fun components for the Christmas trees and for angels and probably more. Again, your suggestions are really welcome.
And those videos are all at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yes. So Monday through Friday, it's 4 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Monday through
I'm
Thursday.
sorry, Monday through, oh, I'm so used to saying Monday through Friday. I'm so glad Tony was paying attention. Yay, Tony. So, yes, indeed, Monday through Thursday, it's at 4 o'clock. And then Friday, it's going to be at the usual time, which is 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, just like what I normally do on Fridays. And Friday is going to be just a little different. I'm going to have all sorts of festive holiday ideas. And we're going to have charms and gifts. So even some things that you can just get as a gift. And, you know, for example, if you have a friend who is a fellow beader and they would enjoy a pair of really cool ornate scissors that are just a little bit, you know, something that they wouldn't necessarily buy for themselves, a little bit luxurious. So anyway, so that is our entire plan for this week. And then of course, next week we have even more ideas and projects and all sorts of holiday fun.
Barb says, all this makes me want to start decorating for Christmas.
Yay! You know what? We were actually going to decorate the backdrop behind me. We were really excited about that, but we ran out of time. So if somebody wants to come and decorate and help us, come on down.
Randy says, looks like beautiful pine cones.
Pine cones! Oh, yeah. So you want to see pine cones for... Oh, are we talking about the trees? Oh, thank you so much. I love pine cones.
Allie says, love them all. Can't wait to purchase and start making them.
Yay!
And adds all of these ornaments would be great for a tablescape setting.
Yes. Oh, yeah, because, you know, they're kind of like standalone. They can just stand on a table. So I don't see why not. Okay, my friends. So I hope you enjoyed today's project. It was very, very simple, but still really great fun to make. And I hope to see you tomorrow for all sorts of holiday beads and components so that you can design your own icicles and other projects. And we're just going to have so much fun this week and next week, and then we still have 2 more days for the week of Thanksgiving. All right, so keep those suggestions coming, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your comments, and have a wonderful and creative evening.